In this video, we're going to talk about how what you plant and what you reap. What you plant will grow, what you reap will sow. Yeah. Okay, that should be a title. That'd be a good title, actually. So there's a few strategies I come across for like writers and stuff, like for like not even like literature, but like actually like creative writing, and they say stuff like there was someone like on BitChute for this matter, BitChute platform current YouTube unfortunately. Well, I mean, because I watch BitChute enough times for all my own reasons, but the Robert J. Stewart guy, the author, and he's a creative writer. He actually mentions that David J. Stewart, whatever his name is. He mentions the architect versus gardener strategies, and gardener was because architect was when you actually already know the whole structure of your story, and gardener is when you build as time goes along. So gardener, even that analogy is good enough for like how like growing things works. I mean, I literally just had the thumbnail about that plot over there. I finally showed you that, guys. Jeez, I actually made a tincture over there. I didn't talk about this too much on the main channel because I was doing it for my own reasons, but the dandelions I was growing in that pot, how successful that was, and how unsuccessful, especially when I'm putting the claymation and other things in that pot, but the thumbnail. But what you grow, what you plant grows, what you reap will sow. And there are some seeds you can plant ahead of time that do make a difference. You don't have to like even consciously know you planted them, but just doing even just baby steps of anything, like literally any consistency you go for, builds up quickly over time. Literally, like you can think of this economically. You can think of this like an investment, I guess. You can think of this in terms of any gains you get from like going to the gym or actually practicing something, a craft training or learning the craft of something. Practice makes perfect, I guess you could say. And knowing how to not give up even in the darkest times, stuff like that. So when you grow something, either literal or in manifestation wise, you don't have to notice the effects right away. I think someone mentioned it really well. I think it was Kenneth Stahl, one of the depressed YouTubers. But his channel is about like even compared to Happy Plum, which unfortunately he doesn't make videos as much anymore. But Kenneth Stahl kept going, and he was really down the dumps. And something he says is that in one of his live streams is that it's really brilliant wisdom. It's like a piece of wisdom. He says that he didn't know the exact moment that he was going to stop being depressed. It just happened. He didn't know when exactly he was going to stop being depressed. Some people can manifest those milestones really well, and they'll know exactly the point that stuff happens in their lives. A.K. Jordan Green, for this matter. Shout out to him because he actually notices certain dates of when his life has changed forever, over and over, in good ways more than bad. But even between those two creators in particular, you could know when you've grown something that you've been working on for a long enough time, and some things will happen as per the last video I just made. Some things will change in your life forever, sooner than you think, and to actually doubt that things would ever change in the first place, let alone very quickly soon after in certain ways. Something you may not even know entirely, let alone at some point, to a certain extent. But yeah, you're going to want to at least consciously try to plant seeds of your own. You're going to want to have some form of knowing that you tried to be consistent with something and then you didn't just leave it there. But you technically do that to not focus on too much and not overthink it. But to have anything started, because I will beat this to death, experiences instances. But really, like, you have so many things you could do. And like what I'm doing with these videos right now, like I actually I upload these soon after making them. I don't even edit all of them. Obviously I don't edit all of them, but I tried this thing. I'll mention this in probably a future video, if not today, but like for another video. But it's where multitasking can still be effective if in a disciplined manner. Like how I've proven this since like last year's goal was multitasking was one of the year goals of 2021, and multitasking actually worked in my favor because I eventually used it this year in 2022 to help me become more disciplined. And that what I did was I allowed something that happened. And I'll get to the main topic in a second again, but like I allowed something that was multitasking to drive the influence of other things I was doing in my life quantitatively, not necessarily quality. But in that case, that's a controversy. But quality or quantity, whatever you call that. But like even I disagree with that, obviously. But with multitasking, I was able to allow something that to influence the other things around it. And so like when I was watching like a Glow Pure and Jordan Pearson video just now, I allowed that to motivate me to cut halfway through the video and then like go straight from that to making another video from my channel. And then I'm like, okay. I did that multiple times for the current week, and that's worked so well for these new era of videos, this new phase of videos. and I didn't have to stop from there. So multitasking does build discipline. That's one way that growing something consistently will reap benefits that you have sown in the past, whether consciously or subconsciously. So a few more things I'll say is that not everything you grow will be reapable. Not just because if they were negative, or because that's a different way of seeing it, but things that you grown, not everything, not even just literal like the dandelions. Not everything you sow will be reapable, because they might die off. This is also kind of a metaphor for that, but they might die off. They might not have been kept in the same pot or plantation. You might have lost it to an animal eating it up. Not for me literally, but like, but you have so many things that could cause something to not grow, and the best thing you can do is keep an attitude, because even if your attitude isn't only about the fact that you grow positive influences, metaphorical speaking, and you still have to keep an attitude even if it's not your fault that something happened to it. You can take responsibility for everything in your life, but not everything necessarily has to be your fault, if that's a paradox. You can only do the best you can do, as per one of my other videos. This channel is about to become a referencing of every single thing I've done in the satire fashion. Oh my gosh. And I'm not even trying to be funny right now, but you reap what you sow. If you plan out things to grow, you'll make sure that everything you've become is what you now know. Running like a mofo. These dandelions did not take forever to grow. Like the hacker said like 95 days on the most. And I've grown them to seedlets, and almost every single seed has grown, even if some of them died off or didn't even grow in the first place. So there was very little trial and error of growing this pot of dandelions. Like, there was more trial and error than I remember there being, because there was times I planted in other areas of the surrounding area, the localization of that. But it's best for this pot. But so that effectively could be the fourth or fifth attempt at growing the dandelions. But that's the literal example. Is like growing those dandelions. I did have to make sure that they didn't have too much water, they had enough sunlight, that they weren't growing in the same spot over and over. I even learned that a little bit in Puss in Boots, the movie, 2011. They're growing the magic beans. But I watched a little bit of Puss in Boots lately, and America's Ladybug. Shout out to those shows. And I'm probably about to watch more One Piece if I want to. That's another relevant thing I'm talking about in this video. But yeah, just growing consistent factors like that, like watching One Piece or the Puss in Boots franchise and America's Ladybug. Those are somewhat irrelevant to this video topic, but even just growing consistent habits and mannerisms like that, they will be flowerize. They will be flower, not deflower. Oh my gosh, that could be relevant to PMO or NoFap. But as I'll mention that over and over in this video channel, obviously, but maybe for not even just a vlogging of the absence streaks or whatever, or the lifestyle, which I'll definitely make more of those videos over time. But as we now have enough length in this video to have monetization for it, 8 minutes. So yeah, when you reap will sow, what you plant will grow. Just try anything enough times, and even baby steps. I did these videos over time, and they rapidly got paced into doing multiple videos a day. And I'm not burning out from that too quickly yet. Not just because I'm passionate for these videos, alternatively, sorry, claymation. Especially for the thumbnail sake, for the props that I've been doing. I'm only gonna use these claymation props for actually every once in a while. I'll do a video that's overnight or longer than usual. I guess not even that pattern, but I'll do enough of those videos for wherever props I had already made or props I made in the meantime, if I'm even convinced to do that. But yeah, they won't have to be only about claymation props I made in 10 minutes. It could be anything I have as a claymation prop, even if it's just the abstract prop models for thumbnails. But generally speaking, anything you plant will grow in some fashion, even if that's also a metaphor within a metaphor. Even if what you planted didn't literally grow, or a metaphor could grow, in another metaphor of a metaphor, what you planted will grow in another form. And that form doesn't have to be the plant that you tried to grow. It could be something else that grew and manifested in a different way and grew another kind of plant. It could be growing another kind of plant and be growing another kind of idea. It could be growing another kind of manifestation form that you didn't have to expect, but because the door of the plant growing was open, you didn't have to wait for the other doors that were supposed to open, even if literally or even if expectations were leading that way. They will grow in their own way. If you plant any seed, something will grow. It won't be the context that you may imagine, if that, but it will be something that you were supposed to reap, because that is how the world works in that sense. I ruined this 10-minute mark. Okay, but I will say for an extra minute that even the architect's perspective of this, like I said for the very beginning of the video, knowing, not being omniscient per se, but knowing how to end on a scale, like, it doesn't have to end the exact same way you expect it to, but when you have a scale to make sure that you know where you're leading to. So like you create an endpoint, like even for, that's just for creative writing's sake, for that matter, storyline or whatever, but like when you have a endpoint that you already know is going to be a good expectation, even if it's not met that way, it could be met that way, but it doesn't have to. Same with like planting your manifestations. If you have a endpoint, that's a very good plan to have, but even without it, building up to it is okay. Even Jordan Peterson said this pretty well when he says that you don't have to know. I'll go over it in this. Okay, when you have an unplanned route, it's more mysterious. It's more of a journey with the audience and writing again. When you have that journey with them, it's less propagandic, and that's even a word. And again, once again, same with gardening, same with planting your manifestations. You don't have to know where you're going with it, especially if you know that the present time was good for that to begin with. You know that the present was something that you were willing to work consistently with. If the consistency implies you're going to keep doing something perpetually for a long enough time, that even that's kind of timeless. But, plant anything in your mind and in your life long enough and be consistent with it. And usually that'll become a form that doesn't have to be the plant you try to grow. It may be diabolical at that point, but at least it would grow something. And that's something that, if anything, if it surprises you what you try to grow, then even the consistent, repetitive pattern of it being done over and over and over again to lead to something that you didn't expect is its own surprise. And that will surprise any of the infinite, consistent times you try to grow it. I promise you that. Go ahead. Oh, freak. Not again. Okay. Yeah. So, last thing I'll say for these next 15 seconds is 10 seconds. I'll make another video today. It's going to be about multitasking. And then if I can do one more video today, it will be about it'll just be about multitasking. And then after that's a mystery, because it's meant to be that way. Promise.